First of all, I'd like to thank David Shayler for actually coming along to answer questions. I think it's taken some nerve. And I'd also like to say that there are some things, revelations, that he and his partner, Animation, have put forward that I have no problem with at all. I have no problem with at all the revelations that MI6 plotted to kill Colonel Gaddafi, or that Blair and indeed Robin Cook are lying murderers. No problem with that at all. I also found a difficulty with him disclosing some of the secrets and documents that he has done about what the security services got up to. Not so you might think, oh well, that's it, we won't go home now. But there are a number of issues or problems I have with claims that he's made. Whether I'll get a chance to explain all of them, I'm not sure, but I'll have a go. The first one, and I think I'd like to start off with a sort of confirmation here. David, would it be the case that this is an animation book, I'm not advertising it, I'm just pointing it out. Would it be right to say that the passages that you can see there that are actually outlined in black are ones that the security service wanted removed?
That's absolutely right.
Right. And would I also be right in thinking that there are no other passages that the security service wanted removed that aren't in black? So in other words, everything you wanted to put in that they didn't like has got black lines through it.
Yeah, there was some stuff about publishers that they wouldn't put in, but that wasn't stuff that was censored by the government.
Right.
So there were two chapters, a chapter about Roger Windsor and a chapter about Jack Jones, which we couldn't put in as
I'm very interested in that. Also, perhaps, in fact, strange to say, the first thing I was going to talk about was actually Jack Jones. Now, for those of you who haven't got long memories or went around at that time, Jack Jones was left-oriented trade union leader of the 60s and 70s. It was Transport and General Workers Union. And there have been allegations in the public domain, in the fringes of the media and so on, going back quite a long time that maybe Jack Jones might have been an agent of influence of the KGB or whatever. Now, obviously, I'm not in a position to know whether these things are correct or not, but what interested me is that starting off with your highly entertaining, if one could call it that, columns in Punch, there's a persistent, it seems to me, I mean, I could read them out, but maybe from what the fact that you mentioned Jack Jones, you probably won't disagree with me, that it seems to me that his was the name that we were trying to hint at on a number of occasions.
That's right.
Yeah. Including the rather obscure clue that a trade union leader who sold secrets to the Russians and made you think of From Russia with Love, which of course one version was performed by an American singer called Jack Jones. Right. Well, and now the Punch articles go back to 1999, or thereabouts. So from 1999, you were mentioning Jack Jones. Now, what particularly, or hinting at him, should I say, what particularly interested me is this revolutionary newspaper, the Mail on Sunday, which I'm sure all of you have read, for the 30th of January 2005, and this was a trail for the book, and it said, the headline is, this is in the non-fiction section, I should point out. The headline was Tony Benn duped into giving Polaris secrets to the Soviet Union? Now, there's a claim here that these astonishing allegations about Ben, I think the idea is that Jack Jones is supposed to have sided up to Tony Benn and just sort of casually, amidst discussions about the compensating resolution, just sort of asked him, can you tell us where all the Polaris bases are? Obviously, that being one that lots of TG members would be working, not. And it says here, the astonishing allegations about Ben having given information to Jones, which they went to the KGB, were stumbled upon by former MI5 officer Animation during research for a new book on security services. Now, see, the problem I have with that is that as far back as 1999, you dropped a hint about Jack Jones, and here we have a Mail on Sunday plug for the book, which suddenly produces the version that Animation came across this presumably quite recently, unless you're implying she looking at the book for 6 years. So when did you first hear about Jack Jones allegations?
I first heard about Jack Jones allegations when I was actually in the service. A respected colleague told me about it one night over a drink. But I've got to point out that now that Sunday article was done after a conversation that Annie had with somebody at the Mail on Sunday. It was entirely distorted from what she was saying. It was also an issue where they said who was the minister involved, and she said, I don't know, somebody indicated it might be Tony Benn, but we don't know if that's true or not. And that appeared in that form in that newspaper. So we were not trying to push that. She was not something she'd recently done, that something was going to go wrong. Right. And if I could just flesh out the Jack Jones thing, something else I was told about Jack Jones.
Well, I think I'm glad that you said some things about the Jack Jones thing, but nonetheless, I have a problem because, like a number of other stories I put forward, so what you're saying is that this plug for the book was distorted by a journalist, right? And that therefore it's not entirely a representation of what we wanted to say. And of course, what I actually did in the last issue of From The Borderland is I took this story, as it's put forward here, and of course it seems to vaguely parallel a letter to Jack Straw in 1999 when he was the Home Secretary, and of course the two versions of what Jack Jones is supposed to have done haven't tallied. But if you're prepared to publicly confirm here that you think that Jack Jones was an agent of the KGB, I'll give you a chance to reflect on it later on, that would be interesting. That's the first thing. The problem I have, in other words, the accounts that have been in the public domain and the accounts that are in the book or not in the book, and this first book for the book don't fit. Now, the second thing I'd like to talk about is Class War, the Anarchist group. Now, one of your roles was that, as you have not denied, that you were in charge of monitoring Class War. Now, there's a train which is in the book, and there's also, well, I should say the first time it appeared in the Mail on Sunday in 1997, when your revelations first came out. There was a claim, the only claim of MI5 agents inside Class War was a comment that some unstable drunk approached the service and he was taken seriously and then this, that and the other. That's one version, that's the first version of Class War. State involvement in Class War. Then we have a second version, which was put forward by a conspiracy theorist called Tony Gosling on the internet, in which he claimed that you had told him to meet him in Bristol that in fact MI5, through a special branch agent, whose code name was later given for, was actually propping up Class War. Now the problem I have with that are twofold. First of all, you have two different versions of state involvement in Class War. I don't see how the two really correlate with each other. The second thing is, if this Metropolitan Police Special Branch agent inside Class War was beating up police as part of his cover, I think, and having had discussions with people in Class War, and it doesn't seem to ring true with this particular person. I mean, the idea that people in Class War beat up the police is, of course, outrageous. But having had discussions with them, the problem that I have with that is that if this person did in fact beat police up as part of his cover, presumably it's going to be alleged that he didn't do so alone. And if he didn't do so alone, and any other people were arrested at the same time as the police were allegedly beating up, I think those people deserve to know who that person was.